Hello and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be building up and painting the Aston Martin DB5 from Airfix. This is a 1 in 43 scale starter set and requires the easiest of skill levels to make. The rear of the box shows you the completed model kit from all angles. So let's get this thing open and see what's inside. As this is a starter set, it comes complete with a tube of glue, a brush and 4 pots of paint. Everything comes packed in these nice and neat plastic bags. Those need cutting open. We have 3 plastic sprues, including one which is clear, as well as the car body. We also have a set of decals, a full set of instructions, as well as a beginner's guide to model making. I'm going to lay everything out so you can see it all in one go. And this is everything except for the paperwork. And this is a guide to model making, which is extremely useful for beginners. The instruction sheet comes in several different languages and also includes some stats about the car itself. Plus it also shows you what parts are included in the kit, so you know if anything's missing. And that's followed up by 4 pages of colour instructions. And these look fairly straightforward as there aren't too many steps to follow. And unlike most model car builds, we don't need to build the engine, which will remain unseen, so that will save us a little bit of time. I primed all these parts while they were still on the sprues, and while I was at it, I spray painted the car body silver. I'm not going to use the paint pot which came with this kit, as you can see the colour is separated, so using my own paint, I start painting the part while they're still attached to the sprue, and this just makes it a little bit easier to paint. The only downside to this method is once you remove the part from the sprue, you'll have to do a little bit of paint touch up. But this method is still quicker and easier than cutting it off first and trying to paint something that's tiny. As you can see here, I've clipped off the part. I just need to remove the tab, then paint over it. And I do this for every item. Then I dry brush a cream colour over the seats, as this gives it a little bit of shading, although you probably won't notice it through the windows at the end. And everything is glued together with some plastic cement. It's just a matter of lining up the peg holes and everything goes on nice and easy. The front and back for the driver and passenger seat need assembling, and then both of them can be glued into place. Once again, the details inside the car aren't all that essential, because once the windows go into place they'll be very difficult to see. Now I have a couple of decals to put on, and these are the 2 speedometers on the dashboard. These are also very tiny and very fiddly to put into place. I even lost one of them in my mug and spent 10 minutes trying to fish it out. So I was extremely thankful once I found it and I can move on to the next phase. So I repeat the same process of painting and assembling. I add some panel liners to the dashboard to bring out the details, even though these will hardly be noticeable once inside the car. Next, to be glued into place is the steering wheel, and after that I can attach the dashboard to the car itself. And before the glue has a chance to set, now is a good time to attach the side panels, and that way I can make sure all the pieces fit without breaking any bonds. And while that's setting, I jump ahead, paint and assemble the tyres. And now the car is flipped upside down so I can work on the undercarriage. First go in the front and rear axles, and these are not to be glued into place, but everything else that follows is. And this huge piece stops the axle from falling out, and that's followed up by adding the exhaust. Moving on to the car bodywork, I now add on the grille. And while the windshield is still attached to the sprue, I go on and paint the wipers in black, and then I put that to one side for now. I painted the headlights in white, and then went ahead and painted the tail lights in their appropriate colours, which are white, red and orange. By now the wipers have dried, so I can glue the windshield into place. I have to be careful now, because if any overspill from the glue will destroy the paintwork. The rear windows go in easier, as they're popping from the inside. They just need to be securely pushed into place so they don't fall out when the model is complete. and after adding a little bit of glue, both halves can be pushed together. I just need to push both parts together for a minute or two until the glue takes hold. Next I add on both the front and rear bumpers, and these just held into place with friction alone. Now I can add the clear lenses for the headlight, and then I added a drop of glue to each of the tyres, then glued them onto the axles, and that's the assembly part completed. But there are still a few decals to add, and some of these are extremely tiny. They're each transferred onto the model, then moved into their final places with some tweezers. I use a cotton bud to try and soak off as much water as possible, otherwise the transfer can slip out of alignment when drying. This final decal is about 1mm by 2mm, so it was a nightmare to put into place. So that's it, this kit is finished, and as an added bonus, the wheels do actually turn. All in all, it wasn't a bad little kit to build. Some of the little details are very easy to miss on the instructions, so you really do have to pay attention, as each panel contains not only the building instructions, but painting instructions and other little details, and those can't always be carried out in order. A chrome tree would have been nice for some of the metal parts, as it's almost impossible to achieve such a shine using paint alone. After double checking the box, I realised that this kit came out in 2023, so it's completely brand new. But that being said, I still wasn't going to risk using the paint which came with this kit, in part because the colours should not separate when they're that brand new, and because this is a high-end manufactured car, I couldn't risk having any brush strokes, which is why it's always best to use spray paint where possible. Thank you for watching. Don't forget, if I can do it, so can you.